An only child is a lonely child. That's what they say, isn't it? That we parents of only one child, we're being selfish. The child won't have any siblings to play with or keep them company. And they'll grow up all sad and lonely. But it doesn't have to be like that. And I'm here to share tips, tricks, hacks, methods, call it what you will, to help your child, your only child, combat loneliness. My name is Tamsin, and I run the website theonlychildclub.net, and I'm dedicated to serving you and your beautiful one-child family, helping you all to grow, flourish, and enjoy life to the full. Now, when it comes to loneliness, I think it's important to recognise that loneliness is really a state of mind. A person can be in a crowded room full of people and still feel lonely. Equally, a person can be on their own in their own home all day long, and they'll be quite content in their own company. So when it comes to supporting your child and their sense of loneliness, it's worth making note of this. And if you think about how you're going to support your child, it may be with practical ways, but it also may be helping them combat some of the psychological issues that they have, which is causing them to feel lonely. But fear not, I have 10 hacks, tips, methods, whatever you want to call it, to help you, help your child with loneliness and combat loneliness. And do stay on, listen to all of them. Some of these tips may really help you. Some of them might not be relevant to you, but I can guarantee that last one that I'm going to share is definitely going to help you and your child combat loneliness in your own lives. So the first point number 1, is to actually establish whether your child really is lonely. I know it sounds a little bit strange that I'm saying this, but if you think about it, as parents, we can be kind of guilty of projecting our own thoughts and feelings and fears onto our child. So, for example, I can see my daughter, Sops, and she might be on her own upstairs doing whatever, and I'm downstairs working. But I would go upstairs and I see her, and maybe she's on her phone or reading or playing or whatever, and my heart goes out to her, and I'm thinking, oh, she looks so lonely on her own. But she might not be. She might be quite content in her own company. So it's really important to actually establish whether your child is feeling lonely or not. However, don't ask them, are you lonely? I'll tell you why. If you think about it, it's a loaded question. In courtrooms, barristers and lawyers have to be very careful how they question a child witness. They can't turn around to the child witness and say, he did it, didn't he? Because the child's going to be, yes. Because children just give you the answer they think you want to hear. So you have to be very careful how you question a child. And if you just say, are you lonely? Your child might not have even thought that they were feeling lonely. And then they may say yes, but they might not actually feel it. So actually, don't ask them the question, are you lonely? Just let them get on, because chances are they're going to come and tell you if they're feeling lonely. Children are very good at sharing with their parents what they are feeling and what they want at any given time. I'm lonely, I'm sad, I'm depressed. Well, they might not say depressed, but I'm hungry, I want to go out, I'm tired, I'm not tired. They tend to let you know. So just look for the cue within your own child. The second thing I want to point out to you is quite a biggie. You might not be able to do it, but I do highly recommend it. And it's to get your child a pet. Yeah, I said it. definitely get your child a pet. It's so important. According to Pet Care and the Human and Animal Bond Research Institute, I can't believe that even exists, 85% of respondents to a survey that they conducted said that having a pet really helped alleviate their sense of loneliness. And I can totally vouch for this. During 2020, during the lockdowns, we adopted our cat, Oreo Supersonic Triform, and I can't wait to share him with you in future videos because he's an absolute darling. Now, I want to make a point here, okay? I had already promised to get Sops a cat back in 2018, okay? So Oreo is a lockdown cat, but he isn't a lockdown cat, if you know what I mean. I'll talk about that in a minute. When we adopted Oreo, it was lockdown. We were feeling lonely and sad and isolated. So I thought, you know what, we're going to adopt a cat anyway. This would be quite a good time because we're all at home together. We can get a kitten or a very young cat, train him and play and have lots of fun. And then when it's time to go back to work, you know, he should be old enough to be a bit more independent. So I'll explain, I'll do another video about when we adopted Oreo because it was kind of fun, but we did do that. And when he arrived, he was our delight and joy all the way through that time. He played with absolutely everything. He killed so many things, but he was fantastic. So I do highly recommend that if you can get a pet, but just be aware of the responsibilities it takes to take on an animal. Sadly, a lot of people during 2020 just adopted dogs and cats for the novelty of it because they also wanted the fun and the companionship of having a pet during the lockdown period. But then when it was time to go to work or when they wanted to go on holidays, they realised that they couldn't leave their dog on his own all day long in a house, or they looked up the price of catteries and they found out it was very expensive to leave a cat in a cattery if you go on holiday. So just be very mindful, look at the costs in regards to getting a pet beforehand and what it involves. Also consider getting a pet that your child can actually have something of a relationship with. I'm thinking of that film Cats and Dogs. I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's kind of fun. In Cats and Dogs, the father wants to invent some sort of solution to help cure people who are allergic to dogs. So he adopts a dog for his son, who's an only child, and the dog is just a perfect companion to this boy, his best friend, and it really shows how wonderful it is for an only child to have a pet. But as I said, think about the kind of relationship a child can have, the sort of pet you can have. Dogs and cats are perfect. Rabbits, what else? Guinea pigs are great. Hamsters, they're awesome as well, but they're kind of nocturnal and they make a lot of noise during the night. So just have a think about that before you adopt a pet. Just think very carefully about your child and the sort of pet your child can have a relationship with. You can't really have a relationship with a fish unless it's a mermaid. And then that gets kind of splash territory, doesn't it? And now we're going to move on to point number 3. Point number 3 is encourage your child in imaginative play. This is a really good one where you can start the game by playing with your child and then you can go off and have a cup of tea or coffee or whatever, and your child will have already got to know the characters that you've developed with imaginative play and they can continue with the story. Now, a great example of this is a game I played with Sops when she was little. We liked playing with her soft toys together, and she had this little kitten cat toy. I'll put a picture of that up here and you can see it's really adorable. Look how cute and adorable that is. It was so sweet and looked so innocent. We decided to make it into a mafia boss. And Snowy, she had her own little gang of criminals, and they decided that they were going to smuggle a load of catnip, illegal catnip, into the country. But what they didn't realise is that there were other members of the gang who are actually undercover cops, and the undercover cops busted them and they got arrested and they got thrown into jail. And I'll put a picture of that up as well, because they're in jail now. I think we also sang that deep song about nobody knows the trouble I've seen in when we did it. It was kind of crazy, but it was fun. So we played that together, and then I went off and did some other things, and Sops continued the game on her own. And this moves us very nicely onto point number 4, okay? Which is, hopefully, if you've really helped your child develop their imagination with imaginative play in any sort of circumstance, then hopefully they will have developed an imaginary friend. Huzzah! That's what you want. That is a big bonus if your child has an imaginary friend. I'll tell you the reason why it's a bonus, because some people worry. So, oh my gosh, my child is talking to themselves. The reason an imaginary friend is so good is not only can an imaginary friend be company for your child, an imaginary friend is a way that your child can think out loud, bounce ideas off themselves, because their imaginary friend is an extension of themselves. It's awesome. And you know what I absolutely love is how children will come up with problems that their imaginary friend has caused. Like, I don't know, they could say, Dad, my imaginary friend Jimbo won't give me any of his ice cream. And then you have to deal with it, right? And you're like, okay, well, you can ask Jimbo politely if he will share his ice cream. But if Jimbo does not want to share the ice cream, it's his ice cream. He has every right not to share it. Okay, so you can help your child work out these problems that their imaginary friend has come up with. However, later on in life, hopefully soon your child will make an actual real friend. And when they make an actual real friend, if they come across a similar problem, then they will know how to deal with it because of their imaginary friend. So it is brilliant. Now, imaginary friends are not for only children only, okay? I'm going to bring in a bit of a disclaimer here. I actually grew up in a large family. I had 2 sisters and 3 brothers, and yet I also had an imaginary friend. Her name was China. She had long silver hair. That's all I remember of her. Did you have an imaginary friend when you were younger? If so, put the name of your imaginary friend in the comments below, because it'd be nice to share that with other people, and it could confuse other people coming on here, and it'd kind of fun to share that and to see the names of all your imaginary friends. There is a film coming out soon about imaginary friends, and I can't wait to watch it. Sops and I will go watch it. We might even do a review video, so looking forward to that. Okay, let's move on to the next one. So we're on point number 6 now. Okay, the really cool thing about point number 6 is, well, what I'm going to say to you is take your extrovert child out a lot. All right, what you're going to find in these videos that I'm going to share, and I've got a whole plethora of great videos about gifting and personality types, and this includes talking about the difference between an extrovert and an introvert, and how you can be a parent to an extrovert child compared to being a parent of an introvert child, because, you know, different parenting depends your child really, and I'll talk about that a lot in lots of different videos. So just to clarify what it means to be an extrovert, I'm an extrovert, and extroverts are people who gain their energy from being around other people. Okay, so I find that if I'm working at home on my own all day long, I get very tired very easily, and sometimes I just have to go for a nap or something, like the middle-aged woman I am. But if I go out, if I'm getting tired and I just go out to the supermarket or something, just having other people there will boost my energy. And your child, if they're an extrovert, it will be the same. If they're at home on their own all day long, they're going to be a bit meh. All right. So if you've got an extrovert child, they're more likely to say that they feel lonely, and you need to adjust that need. Now, I know at the beginning of this video I said about, some of the stereotypes, and people criticise parents of only one child for not giving the child siblings to play with and to have a companionship with. And they're partially right here. Don't shoot the messenger. They are partially right, okay? Your child still has needs. Your extrovert child really has needs. They still need to connect with other children and play and grow those social skills. So if they don't have any brothers or sisters to play with, it's going to have to be you, okay? So you could do the imaginative play with your child, or you could take them out to the park or to go out swimming, or the seaside or wherever, just making sure your child, if they're an extrovert, has time with other people to gain their energy. An introvert is a little different. They're more likely to be quite happy in their own company or with just one other person. So that's not an issue you need to worry about if your child's an introvert, but obviously you will need to help your child develop social skills even if they are an introvert. And that goes on nicely to the next point, which is point number 7. Point number 7 is help your child make friends. All right. And the way you do that is to take them to clubs and societies that will interest them, so they can meet other people who've got same interests as them. All right. Now, school is obviously a place where they spend a lot of time, so they're likely to meet some friends at school, and it's important to have at least 1 or 2 friends at school. It's not important to have loads and friends. And if you think about it, for kids, school is like what work is to us. They have to go. These are people they have to go to school with, and they have to kind of learn with, but the people don't have to be their friends, okay? Whereas if they go to a club or societies or things that interest them, they're more likely to find their tribe. They're more likely to find other kids that will share the same interests as them, have similar sort of personalities. So for example, my daughter is into gymnastics. She absolutely adores gymnastics, and she goes once a week to the gymnastics sessions. And she's actually, because she's a raving extrovert like me, so she's actually arranged a couple of meetups with her friends that she's made in the gymnastics club to meet up outside of the sessions. Both those sessions were meetups, were at a trampoline park, obviously. And as a parent, all I had to do was take SOPs and pay for SOPs. Then I sat down, had a cup of tea, talked to some of the other parents, and the kids merrily jumped around. So all you have to do as a parent to enable this and to help your child make new friends is take them to places that would be interesting, pay for them. That's all you have to do to support them, right? Now, I have got a blog post aimed at children on how to make new friends, and I will link that in the description below, so your child can go on there and learn some tips and tricks on how to make friends, and I'll probably do a video about it in the future. So we're moving on really nicely, aren't we? We are now going to go on to point number 8. This is a cute point. This is a really special tip that you may not have thought of before, but I'm going to recommend it to you. Is make friends with other lonely people. Okay, and this is a way of, helping your local community, reaching out to those who are struggling with loneliness. We're living in a really interesting day and age where with technology we're more connected than ever before, and yet we're more disconnected than ever before. One of the main issues that society has at the moment is we've got an older generation, an aging generation, and they are feeling especially lonely. According to Age UK, 1.4 million older people are struggling with loneliness and the negative effects that that is having on their mental health. So this is something that you and your family can do together. I remember when we were little, there was an elderly lady who lived down the road from us called Mrs. Parker. She was lovely. She used to make us rainbow cakes and she used to make us lemonade. I don't know if she made it, but she used to give us lemonade. And we used to enjoy going to see her, and she loved our company and made her feel young again. I don't know what it is, but when old people hang around with young people, and especially babies and little ones, it makes them feel younger and it boosts their energy. So it's a really good thing to do. So as a family, if you know anyone in your community who is, suffers from being alone, invite them to dinner on a Sunday perhaps, or go visit them, once a week or something, so they've got something to look forward to. So that's a way of breaking down loneliness, sense of loneliness in your child, but also teaching your child to be compassionate and thoughtful of others. We're going to move on to point number 9. In point number 9 is host events to combat loneliness in your only child. All right, and yeah, I mean you host the event. When my daughter Sops asks me if she can have a sleepover, I always say yes. Okay, it might not be on that night, especially if she suddenly says it at 10 o'clock on a school night. That's a no, but I will always host sleepovers. She wants a friend to come round. Vast majority of times I say yes. I am happy to be that house that friends can come in and out whenever they wish. All right, and there's a reason for that. As I said before, my daughter's a raving extrovert and she needs to have that companionship. Okay, she doesn't have any brothers and sisters, so it's important that she has companionship in her friends, and I'm not going to stop that. Now, the reason I say for you to host events is kind of the reason why I set up the Only Child Club in the first place. I found that when Sops was really little, especially at weekends, we'd want to do things, and we kind of wanted to do things with other people, not just go out as a small family, but, maybe with some friends. And I found that, I'd call up people and I'd say, hey, you want to go to the beach and stuff like that. But people who've got bigger families tend to say no to that because they have already organised an event with their bigger family, and they don't tend to think to invite the small one-child family to these events. This is their own big family event. So that's why I set up the Only Child Club, so that one-child families can connect, and we're going to talk about that in the next point. So if you want to connect with other people, you might need to, and you want to socialise with other people, you might have to be the one hosting the events. So for example, at Christmas, during Advent, we have carols around the wreath. People come round to my house and we sing carols around the wreath and eat yummy food, junk food, and have a really good time of it. At Easter, we roll eggs down a hill. This year I invited a family with quite a few children, and that was quite fun to do it together as two family competition almost. So yeah, if you want to socialise with other families, don't expect them to be inviting you. You're going to be the one who has to do the hosting, maybe barbecues, picnics, whatever. That's another way to combat loneliness in your only child, by you taking charge and hosting events. And the last bing, bing, bing point is point number 10. This is a doozy. This is going to help you, and it's going to help your child and everybody. On the website, I have set up a Discord server for families with only one child. in the Discord server, there are 3 channels. There's a channel for children, there's a channel for parents, and there's a channel for teenagers. This means children, your child, can get on the Discord and speak to other children who are only children, okay? And they can talk about kid stuff like, I don't know, Pokemon, dinosaurs, unicorns, Minecraft, whatever kids talk about, they can talk about that. It's an open chat room, so you can have a look at what your child is sharing and what other kids are sharing as well. It's also very heavily moderated by yours truly, but also there's some moderator bots on there as well. There's a channel for teenagers to talk about whatever teenagers talk about. I have no idea what they talk about. And there's a channel for us parents, so we can share things and connect with each other and talk about what it's like to be parents of an only child, or we can talk about other adulting things like tax and house prices and the weather, and I don't know, really boring things like that, because that's what adults talk about. So please do go onto our Discord server. You can go onto it by tapping the link to the website in the description below, sign up for the Discord server, and then anyone can use that and go into any of the channels. I hope this video has been really useful for you. This is my very first video. I'm planning to make a plethora of videos to support you and your one-child family. If you want to find out more about SOPs and me and what we're doing, go onto the website. Please do subscribe. Because it's a new website, we need lots and lots of subscriptions to the YouTube channel. That's going to really help this channel to grow, and it will help me serve you all the better. Thank you ever so much, and look out for the next video. Toodles!